We found late in this week that a little child that we'd been praying for had passed away, little Aiden. And that has brought out a lot of emotions in many, those of you who have battled serious diseases like cancer. You would have a very good opportunity today to wrestle with that and your relationship with faith. When my son was about the same age as Aiden's, his superhero was Superman. And it was about May of 1995 that Superman was riding on a horse. And he fell off the horse. It was during an equine competition. And Jim Reeves was confined from that point on to a wheelchair. And we all looked at Jim Reeves and we thought, if anybody can conquer this, he can. And indeed, he put in a lot of research and money towards getting people out of wheelchairs. Within probably the next couple of years, we will see the first exoskeletons come out, which will enable people to walk even though they are paralyzed. We have seen advancements in limbs. People without any legs can now run. And it's amazing what his determination did. But there was a bit of a problem with Christopher Reeves. He realized he needed to be very determined, and he was. But he also understood that his future was all about hope in medical science. In 1998, he wrote a memoir called Still Me. And in that memoir, he said that. So think about that for a second. Think about anybody whose faith is connected to this world. Think about how their lives are. They get a diagnosis like multiple sclerosis, or you'll be in a wheelchair for the rest of your life, or you've got terminal cancer, or anything like that. And they hear that there's some new treatment coming out, and their hope soars. And then they find out, well, it's still a few years off. And then where's their hope? I mean, you see their lives are like this, and then all of a sudden they're depressed. Every now and then, however, I've had the privilege, and you've had the privilege to witness somebody leaving this world from this church whose hope was not in medical science. And it's been so different. It's been like night and day. I've seen people struggle to hold on to life and to everything because their faith was all in this life. And I've seen other people say, you know what? My hope is not in this world. I'm not going to spend hours preparing to stay 6 more months in this world. Instead, I'm going to spend every last moment on what I know is real. And you've seen how people have left differently, haven't you? And it's been an amazing thing. And so I want you to look at your own life today. Because if there's one thing I can promise you, unless Jesus comes before we die, none of us are leaving this world alive. Now, I know you've heard that many times. You've read that in the Bible. You've probably thought about it, but I want the penny to drop today. I want you to actually, absolutely believe it. Believe it. We're not going to leave this world alive. And then we won't be like that person hanging on because their hope is here. Oh, there's a new treatment, it's too expensive. There's a new drug coming up, but I can't afford it. Or and it's up and down and up and down, and it affects everybody around you if you're the one that has that diagnosis. But Brian, every now and then there's somebody who can die a good death because they know it's not in this world. And so, what is it in this world that you're hanging on to? What is it that you think, is it a sin? Is it a lifestyle? What is it that attracts you to this world? And we know this world is very attractive. There are so many things that will hook you. They will hold you. And you need to let it go. There's only one way to quit the world. And I'm now speaking to all of you who have been baptized. There's only one way to quit the world. During our class this morning, we learned, Kyle, about alcohol. And you said, well, you know what? Alcohol will never be a problem if you don't go close to it, right? Now, you might get close to alcohol, and it might not be a problem, but you never know. But there's one way to be sure about it. Just never go close to it. But for those of you who have meddled with things like alcohol, and folks, trust me, there are many, many Christians who are not in church this morning because they can't be here. They are constantly drunk. And you'll smell it on their breath, you'll see it in their actions. And I'm just taking one thing, right? I could take any number of things. And I want you to take the one thing in your life. What is it in your life that you really live for? Is it that next sale? Is there a Black Friday or Thursday coming up, What is it that you live for? It's somewhere there. You're going to get a new house, a new car, a new job, a salary increase. What is it that you think this is the thing that you really have to have in your life for you to know you're okay? I need you to understand this carefully. Then we'll go into the lesson. The only way to quit the world is this way. Cold turkey. You get what I'm saying? From next Sunday, we'll be talking about Thanksgiving. I'm not talking about the turkey of Thanksgiving, okay? I'm talking about quit. Just stop. There's only one way to quit an addiction. Cold turkey. You can try the other methods. You can try whatever, and I don't want to get into specifics because then I'll detract from what you are battling yourself right now. Just quit. You're not a sinner. You were a sinner yesterday. Today, you're a forgiven sinner. You're a grace-covered sinner. You are a repentant sinner. It's not part of your identity anymore. It was yesterday. But folks, listen to me. It will take over every moment, every aspect of your life. It'll completely consume you. Quit it. Quit it now. And that's the first point. You must realize this. You must realize this. So open your Bibles, if you would, to Hebrews chapter 11. Hebrews chapter 11. And we're going to be looking at verse 13. Hebrews chapter 11 from verse 13. These all died. These all died in faith, not having received the promise. Now, think about those who have gone on ahead, okay? If you want to, think about Abel. Think about Enoch. Think about Noah. Think about Abraham. Think about Sarah. These are the people we've studied so far. This is what he's talking about. By faith, these people realize something. In their minds, just like you, have to realize this now. Quit the world. Realize this now. Why? Because they realize that things had been promised to them. They hadn't seen those things. They saw it from afar off. But they realized it was theirs. And so it says, these all, what in their faith? You get it? You got to know that, okay? You're not getting out of this world early. And I would say this, Brian, you'll be a better expert at this. I would say it's probably high in the 90% of people die earlier than what they think they're going to die. You don't know when it's going to be. But wouldn't it be wonderful if you realize it now and you could live with your eyes on heaven and God throws earth in just for free, right? Wouldn't that be wonderful? So let's do that. Let's from this day on understand this in our minds, realize this. These all died in faith, not having received the things promised, but having seen and greeted them from afar. They see it. How do you see heaven? How do you see that promise? Well, this is how you see it. You know that next thing that you think in this world is the next greatest thing? That new iPhone that's going to come out, or that new increase, or that new camper that you're going to buy, that new holiday house you're going to go on to, or whatever. You see it, right? You haven't gone on holiday yet. You haven't bought that RV yet. You haven't gone camping yet. But you see it, right? Because your hope is in that thing. If only I can go on the super cruise vacation or whatever. You see it. And so you greet it afar. Do the same for heaven. See it. You haven't got it yet. You're going to leave this world not having received it yet. But do you think Abel's got it now? Do you think Enoch's got it now? Noah, Abraham, Sarah, and all the other heroes we're going to talk about, those who've left here in faith, not wanting to have held on to this world, don't you think they've got it already? Well, they were here, they saw it, and they greeted it afar. And having acknowledged two things, that they were strangers and exiles on earth. It wasn't while I was in this world. I was a stranger in this world. I was an exile in this world. Literally, my family are strangers and exiles in this world. You ask my family where you're going to be buried, we have no idea. Is Alexandria, will we go through hospice with, I have no idea, Brian, It doesn't matter, okay? Now, listen, I can go back to South Africa, Bloemfontein, and get my grave plot there, I can look at where is the closest place to my family and be buried there. But this world is not designed for this world. I'm not made for this world. I'm not living for this world. And so we welcome and we're acknowledging it as strangers. Now, I want us to sing a song. We're not going to use our songbooks. The words only will be on the board. And I want you to sing it softly and meditatively. I want you in your minds to realize something. This is the last sermon on faith for this month. And then we're going to go into Thanksgiving for November. But every time you sing a song, it's going to be connected with faith. So let's just softly sing this song meditatively, realizing what it is saying.
My home, I'm just a passing through. My treasures are laid up somewhere beyond the blue. The angels beckon me from heaven's open door, and I can't feel at home in this world anymore. Oh Lord, I know I have no friend like you. If heaven's not my home, oh Lord, what can I do? The angels beckon me from heaven's open door, and I can't feel at home in this world anymore.
Psalm 39, verse 12. For I am a stranger with you, a sojourner, as all my fathers were. Have you looked at the people that you graduated with? I went back and looked at my high school class. Unbelievable. They're not there. They're all over the place, and a lot of them have died. Well, Psalm 90, verse 10 says, we'll live 70 years, if we're lucky, a few more years on top of that. And a lot of us will live a lot less than that. We are not made for this world. I really want you not to just take as an academic exercise anymore. I want you to actually, in your minds, quit this world. Stop living for this world. Live for heaven. And God will give you this world and the things of the world that you need. I promise you. He even says, test me to see if this is not so. When your heart, when your affections, when everything in you is invested towards a future heavenly home, life makes sense. It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense the other way. Lord, I've got this cancer. Lord, I've got this arthritis. Lord, I've got this fibromyalgia. I've got this lupus. I've got this, what else? Terrible stuff, right? Lord, please take these things away. Well, let me ask you, Paul, are you invested in this world or in the next? But Lord, I know these things, they didn't come from you. They're thorns from Satan. Paul, my grace is sufficient for you. Maybe the Lord sent these things to you so that you could realize you're not eternally in this world. I watched somebody get up after our Bible study out of a church pew and we're saying, okay, body, move now, body. Right? You're going to figure it out sometime or not. Don't deny it. And folks, when you ask for prayers, the way you ask, that gives away whether you are really invested in this world or not. And it's really upsetting When one partner gets it and the other doesn't completely get it, when one's more closer to having to leave this world and the other one's kind of upset, you shouldn't want to go home. You shouldn't want to stay with me. We're going to have to come to terms with this. Let's do it now. Let's live for heaven. Now, if you realize this, there's something I want you to do with your heart. I want you to absolutely resolve that this is no more your life. This is no more your identification. Now let's keep reading and see how this resolve works. From verse 14. Enduring faith's resolve. For people who thus speak make it clear that they are seeking a homeland. Now listen, this is what's going to happen. The words from your mouth and the direction of your feet are going to speak volumes to the people around you. You realize you're not made for this world. You resolve to be heaven-focused, and so your feet brought you to church this morning. The rest of the world thinks you are absolutely crazy. It makes no sense to them, and it shouldn't make sense to them, but that shouldn't affect you. You keep going towards where you know you need to go. Now, I told you your words, right? What comes from your heart is going to come out of your mouth. And what's going to come out of your mouth is, I am seeking a homeland. I am seeking a homeland. That's what should be coming out of our mouths. Our speech should be inundated with this. The people around us should hear this all the time. And unlike so many people that follow man-made religions, and I don't want to dispout one group by saying something, but I won't, but I'm going to say this. There are many religions who think God's going to create a kingdom in this world, in this earth, and it's not. If you look at Revelation, chapters 20 through 22, it'll tell you that the new heaven is going to have no sea. It's going to be different. Okay? We're looking for something different. It's a homeland that is not made up of this world. It's a beautiful place, but it's not of this world. It's not for these bodies that we have to occupy. There's a different body that's going to be given to us. So here's verse 15. Your words, now look at your direction of your feet. If they had been thinking of the land from which they had gone out, they would have had opportunity to return. Get what that means? You've quit your life in this world. You've quit your sin identity in this world. You're not going to mess with the things that you aren't entangled with yet. And the things that you were entangled with, that's yesterday, that's not today. And so you're quitting it and you're walking towards something else. You're speaking something else, and your direction is away from that. What did you say, Kyle, in your class? If you had struggled with alcohol, well, all you could do is remove it from your house, right? Change the direction that you used to drive to work so that you don't drive by that place you used to stop and get the drink. So, you can completely cut it out of your life like a bad cancer. The direction of your feet is changed. So here is, and you have an opportunity to return, okay? You can return to that previous way of life. Don't return. Verse 16, but as it is, they desire a better country. A what kind of country? A heavenly one, you get that? A heavenly one. Therefore, here's God's conclusion. Therefore, God is not ashamed to be called their God. Isn't that great? Because you've quit that life, because you've not gone back. For He has prepared for them a city, a heavenly city. He's prepared for you, for me, because we're not going back. Now let me give you some incentive to leave this world. Very simple. Have you been hurt in this world? Now, here's a list of things that I've gone through my life, and you can add to this list. And let's see this. Has anyone ever stolen anything from you? Has anyone ever vandalized something? Doreen, how long do we have these aerials put in our car? And then Doreen loves to listen to music as she drives to work. We didn't have an aerial for, I don't know, we had these new cars, second-hand new cars, for about a month, and somebody broke off the aerial. And so finally we come to this area and we think, nobody's going to do it here. She has the aerial fixed, and I don't know whether it was a week, and somebody broke it off. You know, nice car, but you can't listen to music. Isn't that crazy? All right. Here's some more things. Have you ever been attacked? Has your life ever been threatened with a knife or a gun? Have you ever been a victim of road rage? Has anybody not been a victim of road rage? Has a friend ever stabbed you in the back or gossiped about you? Have you ever had to battle a serious health problem? There's a lot of incentives not to hold on to this world. Now, the next song that we're going to sing, Billy doesn't know the words really well, but those of you who do, please sing out just a little bit, but the rest of us, very meditatively, think about this. Beyond this land of
losing and leaving, far beyond the losses, darkening this, and far beyond the taking, and the bereaving, lies the summer land of bliss, land beyond, so fair and bright, land beyond.
Something in your mind. This world is not my home. So you resolve. I mean, you know what it means to resolve? You've quit. You've quit this world. You've quit the competition. You've quit the human race, right? You are in the heavenly race. You've resolved it. Now, what proof do you have? What reassurance do you have? The last point is faith's enduring faith's reliability. How reliable is this? Remember the last few verses that Ben Painter read just now? You remember about Abraham? You remember him taking his son Isaac, the son of the promise, the one from whom all nations will come? And you remember him putting his son on the altar? And you remember him taking that knife, and as he was coming down, as he was about to kill his son, God stopped him, and God gave him back Isaac. Figuratively, God gave him Isaac back from the dead because he was as good as dead. You know why Abram did that? There was only one reason why Abram was willing to kill his son. Because he realized, he was resolved, and he understood that this was a reliable fact, that if his son had died on that altar, what would have happened? God would have given him back. You get that? Is that enough proof for you? Maybe you need a little bit more proof. Because Isaac didn't die, right? Maybe you need Jesus to die on the cross. Maybe you need the Son of God to come into this world and to actually be crucified and to actually die. And not to have the voice of God say, okay, stop. I'll give a sacrificial lamb in its place. But to actually have him die. And then to resurrect and to be seen by so many people. There was one person who doubted that Jesus really had resurrected. You know who that was? Thomas. Do you know what Thomas did? He touched Jesus. After he had died, there were 11 apostles who witnessed Jesus eating. After he died, he was eating stuff. He was eating food. 500 people saw Jesus at one time after he'd resurrected. This is a fact. This is a fact of history. You cannot deny it. The proof is overwhelming. External evidences, internal evidences, things written, things not written, prove that Jesus Christ, your friend, my friend, did die on an old, rugged cross. Let's sing that song with faith. Understand the liability of this. Again, let's sing it meditatively. Let's sing it with full assurance to God. When our children were just very young in the home, and before they were even born, we knew that the way we send them off to school in the morning will determine the rest of their week, the rest of the day. And so we didn't use some of the techniques that our parents had used. We didn't have an alarm going off in the hallway or an intercom system being buzzed or somebody shouting into their bedrooms, "Get up, you've got to get to school now." And we couldn't care if they were late even, because they would get in trouble, not us. So we took them to school very calmly. We would wake them up as gently as what we could, and I really had to work hard at that. Darween, being the mother, she was more in tune with us on how to do this. But I imagine that morning when Abraham had to ask Isaac to get up, I imagine Abraham was very unsettled in his heart because he knew where he was taking his son Isaac. He knew what the destiny of Isaac was. He would have to die. That didn't happen. But can you imagine the father having to wake up his son the night before they'd had a conversation? Jesus saying to his dad, "Father, you can find another way. I mean, I know you did. Look at Abraham and Isaac. With you, all things are possible. But Dad, I'm going to be okay with whatever your will is." And then realizing it wasn't his will. He was going to die on an old rugged cross. So that you and I could sit today, realize, have it resolved, and have it as reliable that after this world, there's a whole new world. There's not death. You know, there's some people who will not come to the Summer Church of Christ because we celebrate the death, burial of our Savior every Sunday. But you see, we don't see it like that. We're not in denial. We do not believe that this world is all there is. We really don't. And so when we have that diagnosis, or when we hear a family member has it, we grieve, we're upset. But folks, that's just the beginning of the transition that can actually happen in your minds today. This world is not all there is. You are prepared, you have been made, you've been created for something far greater. Quit this world. Quit this world. If you haven't been baptized, then you still need to quit this world. If you had to die right now, do you know whether you would be with Jesus? You need to. If you need to be baptized, or if you need to ask for the prayers of this church, I'm asking you, I'm pleading you, please quit this world. You can do it either by praying to God if you're already a member of the church, if you've already been baptized, and if you haven't, or if you need the prayers of the church, or if you need to be baptized, please come forward right now.